Hey everybody, welcome back to Exit 45 Restoration. So today, I'm going to start off by letting you know that I lost almost all of the video I've taken from my hard drive. So, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you in here with the Thunderbird. I'm going to kind of catch you up to speed with, what I've done that I had filmed, but I can't get to you. So let's go in and check it out, all right? All right, so let's just take a look. So we were able to get the dash in. So that's a big step. So I'm really happy about that. Everything looks like it's going really well so far. I've got the center console in, and I'm starting to populate it because I want to make sure that all my harnesses are where they need to be. Everything I need to plug in has a place to plug in. Everything fits and all of that. So that's why I've got this in here. It's ready for its final paint, but I wanted to do all of this before I go putting the final paint on there. But I do have one issue, and that's why it's why I'm doing what I'm doing while I'm doing this test fit. So I've got the aftermarket heater AC unit because this was a non-AC car, and I live in Florida, so AC car. Anyway, aftermarket is always going to be an issue, and this is the control panel for your AC and heater, and you can see they've converted the mechanical slide system to an electrical and then run it through a harness, which ends up in this control unit here. Well, and that's all fine and good, but if you look here and you see, well, here, let me get you into a little bit better position. So we'll look at it from this perspective, and you can see here, look where that's running into. It's running into the tunnel, the transmission tunnel. I can't put it in. So that's why I have the radio in. I was really wanting to see how much room I had, for these to go. So that's kind of my puzzle I need to solve right now. I think it's going to end up having to be bent, at some point, just kind of bend it this way and then let it ride alongside, here and here, but not interfere with anything else. And that seems to be my only solution at this point. I don't know what else I can do to it. So I would probably have to find somewhere along this bracket here where I could bend it a little bit this way to get all this to move enough so that it rides alongside the transmission tunnel and not trying to land on top of it. Well, here's what I come up with. After putting it in there, I cut this piece right here. This piece right here. I cut that off from here, and then I welded this piece in. It's really mostly just tacked right now. But what it did was it changed that angle that I needed to change to get these to lie on the side of the transmission tunnel, not on top of it. So I'm letting this cool. It's hot still, but then I'm going to put these back on, and then we'll do a test fit. And if it looks good, then I'll weld this thing up. The good thing, what I had to do is in order to maintain this direction right here with these, because these move, relatively like this, and what was happening when I just tried to turn it, that cable was bowing. I had to maintain this angle as well, so I had to separate this and this, and then I had to build a piece in between that not only turned the angle but it also brought this piece this way, so it lined back up with this. So it took a bit of work. I'm hopeful. We'll put it in. Those will lay where they need to lay, and this will then work. So yeah, it's a lot of work for supposed to be a bolt-on kit. Clearly, they never tried this part out because there's no way it works. So, all right, there you go. You can see here, I got it all put back together. And now this sets in there like it's supposed to. And then when you come over here, you can see that those now are redirected off to the side of the transmission tunnel. And everything still works. So I think we're okay. Yay. All right, guys. So everything else in here has test fitted good. So I know everything is where it needs to be. All my electrical plugs and all those good things are all where they need to be. So this, I should be able to take all of this out now, take the center console out and get it painted, and we can start getting it back in here permanently. Okay, so I'll just give you guys a quick update on the steering wheel. We're getting there, but it's just, you know, high build primer, spray it on there. You can see where we're still working on some areas. All throughout here are just some smaller type blemishes now that we're smoothing. And okay, so we got our final coat on. I know, give me a break, it's just a little run. Let me see if I can see it. Yeah, you see it. It's gonna get sanded again anyways. Don't give me a hard time. But this, I didn't think this thing was gonna be salvageable. So my dad did a good job bringing this thing back to life, because I honestly did not think we'd get this thing fixed. These sides were so brittle along here, and we just slowly built them up with some epoxy, sanded them down, and you can see they don't look real pretty in there, but that's going to be covered. But it's a lot stronger than it was. These things were just breaking anytime we touch them. And this, lots of, you know, typical breaks in the steering wheel, and we just slowly fixed all that. So I think we're gonna salvage this one. So, all right, we're gonna do a final sand on it. We'll get it under primer again and then take a good look at it. And if it looks good, we'll get some color on it. All right, here we are. You see we got the first coat of color on the steering wheel. And it looks pretty good. There's a few small little blemishes. I'm not gonna worry about them. Again, I'm trying to get a little bit of history with this car. So first coat of paint. So we'll get another coat at least on there, and we'll start looking at some clear coat for it. All right, there we go. We got 2 coats of clear on it so far. And it's coming out pretty good. All right, so we are ready to install the steering column. I think we got everything ready to go. Got all my bolts laid out where they need to go. We got our plate here hooked up, ready to go. I think it's just time to stab it in and go through the pain. So, all right, we're gonna bring it in there. We'll get it stabbed in, and once we get it in there, we'll bring it back in and let you see it as we're trying to figure out how to make this work. All right, I know it's hard to see, but we got it stubbed out there, but the shift lever, linkage lever, is having a hard time getting it through. You see it right there. So I got to figure out a way to get that out, and I just got limited room on inside and outside. The brake pedal's in my way. Everything's in my way. So we're going to fight this, see if we can't get that shift linkage on the outside, then see if we can't get this to spline up. We'll figure it out from there. Well, we got the rag joint all hooked up. We got the swivel point all hooked up on both sides. just later on we'll get our shift linkage hooked, but we're good out here. Then we get into here. What a pain in the butt this was. So I've got the closing panels here. I got to figure that out. You can see I just trashed my paint. I'm going to have to touch all that up because this was a pain in the butt. It was in my way everywhere I was trying to go, and you can still see it's not quite set where I need it yet because I haven't figured that out. But anyway, you got to get up underneath here and you know, it's all hooked up. It's all tight. This brace here that goes across for this. Oh my gosh, I'm way too close. You guys can't see a thing. Sorry. Anyways, this here we got this brace here. That's all hooked up. It's all bolted. So what I've been working on is some of the adjusting for the slide mechanism. It's a little bit rough, glitchy. So there's some adjustments. There's several adjustments that have to be made in here. So, anyways, it's all hooked up. I haven't got the electrical hooked up yet, but yeah, it's in. That was an hour and a half or so of my life I won't get back. Okay, so I want to bring you guys in for a little bit of an update on the steering column. So I had to pull it back out because, let me just show you underneath here. So the ring right here that holds down the rubber boot here, right there, mine was on backwards. The lip here was facing toward the engine bay, and it should be facing toward the cabin. So I finally figured that out. I took the column back out, got it all in, to find out that this new rubber boot, the holes don't line up, not even close. So I wasn't going to take the column back out and figure that out. So what I did was I went around and I found some body bolts that came off of another project. If you can see here, right there, they've got like a pointy tip. So they were perfect because they would go through that rubber and then they would screw right in. They were same threads, they were same everything. They just had the pointy tip on them so that I could punch it through that rubber. And now that rubber's in there nice and solid. So just a heads up, guys, before you go and put the column in, verify that the metal ring that goes around there and the bushing or the rubber whatever, just check that, because it'll be a whole lot easier to put the holes in it outside of the car. Well, I've got this all done. I finished all my adjustments underneath there, and nice and easy too. Slides really nice. Take it out of park and we're locked. So there you go, guys. It's there's a lot to do. It's a bit of a pain, but there you go. It works. I was really hoping that I would not have any problem with that. So a lot of fight, you know, you guys saw it, a lot of fighting with this stupid column, but you know, in and out seems like, but it's in now and it's not coming back out. So all right, we'll move on to the next thing. All right, so what we're doing now, we got the steering column all done and all that's operating slide wise. It's doing everything. I want to try and run all the electrical to ground as best I can before we move on. So you can see we've blown up some of the diagrams that we need. We're going to go ahead and start testing. So I think there's a couple of things that we found already while we just did some kind of preliminary stuff that aren't working. One of them is we're not getting any power to the headlights, so we got to figure that out. And we're not able to get the brake light switch to activate. So we got to chase that down as well. Mostly it's just figuring out where the power's coming from, you know, and all that. So so we'll bring you in as we get some of these resolved and let you know what it was that was causing the problem. Okay, guys, just bring you back in. Told you I'd let you know what I found out. So one of the ones that we were working on was the brake lights weren't coming on. So I had to go underneath and look at the setup underneath here, because when I hooked this up per the photos that I took, and clearly somebody was in there messing around because they weren't correct. I didn't have power to 2 different circuit breakers in here. And so I had to bring it back to what this says here. And I have power to 3 of them. I still don't have power to 1. I got to figure that out. But for now, we got power coming to, this is the brake light switch. And we should have had power going to one side, and we didn't. Now, if he goes and does, we'll just set that right there. And he can ground it, and then, all right, there you go. So now we have power going to one side of that. And now if you watch what happens when he jumps, go ahead and jump it. There it goes. All right, there's our brake lights. And so all he's doing, if you can show him here, is he's jumping. He's jumping from one side to the other, because that's all the pressure switch is doing at the master cylinder. Is it's going to, once there's enough pressure, it's going to connect the circuit between these two. And then you can see there we have brake lights. Okay, so we figured out that we had a few things hooked up wrong in here. And we're going to go ahead and move forward now and see if we can't get these headlights working. All right, so after we got the brake lights working, we figured that out. We tackling the headlights. The headlights wouldn't come on. We could get the parking lights on. They came on. They worked fine. But we could not get the headlights, and we couldn't figure it out. I've been tracing wires. I've been doing everything I can, and I was looking in the wire diagram, and everything kept going to the dimmer switch. And I thought, I wonder if I have to have the dimmer switch hooked up. So there you go. I hooked up the dimmer switch and pulled the light switch, and there you go. There you go. All right, so we figured that out. So if you're in the middle of troubleshooting and you're, you know, getting your car back together, just know that headlight dimmer switch has to be installed for the headlights to come on. All right, so the next thing I think we have to tackle is turn signals. So we're going to jump on that. Well, guys, we have been fighting for, I don't even know, at least a couple of hours on the turn signal. So I could not get it to blink to save my life. I have chased every wire in the system. I don't even know. I mean, I ran power. I checked all the power. I checked continuity to every line that going out to all the lights. And I can't tell you how many wires we chased, and everything kept checking out good, and we couldn't find the smoking gun. And then eventually we came into here and we did test voltage to make sure we had power coming in that was going to be distributed, you know, one side or the other. And as soon as we did that, everything started working. I don't understand why. I can't explain it, but watch this. There you go. And there you go. There's Dad. Hi, Dad. And there's my flash. The other side works. I just don't have the light bulb in it anymore. But they all work. Everything works as advertised. So that's that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to chase down a few more things. We want to check to make sure our horns have power out to the plug. And then we're going to come inside and we're going to do our last sweep in here. We're going to check to make sure we have power for the power window plugs. And then we're going to make sure we have it to the motors on there. We'll check to make sure we have power out here. and there's not a whole lot beyond that to check. The courtesy lights, we'll check the courtesy lights that go up there. We'll make sure there's power to those. But that's pretty much all that's left to check on this. We have pretty well run everything to ground, with the exception of the ignition. So we'll get to the ignition once I get the engine in there. So, you know, and a sneak peek for you guys is, there it is. I am in the middle of working on it right now. The rotating assembly's in, and we're gonna hopefully have that finished up here shortly. All right, so let's go test the rest of this, and I'll let you know how that comes out. All right, I'm gonna bring you guys in for the final update. We have successfully tested everything that we can test, and everything so far partially tests good. We do know where the problem is, and we can fix it. We just have to get some parts. So let me do the rundown of what we just finished testing. So the first thing we did was we went here and we tested the horns. We do have 12 volts, so that works good to there. But however, there's a horn relay right here that buzzed like you wouldn't believe, and it is probably bad. So we're going to replace that. I don't know what this is here. You guys maybe can help me. Whatever it is, it's probably working because we didn't have any problems. But, you know, every other relay I seem to have seems to be bad. So we figure we might just replace this one. We'll place the horn relay over here. The voltage regulator is getting hot, so I might just look at replacing that. And then the signal, I guess, condenser or filter or whatever this is, obviously needs to be replaced. It's broke off. But so the other thing, after we finished with the horns, we went and we tested for the window power, and you know, make sure we had power all the way to the plug here, you know, where it goes into the door and plugs into the motor. So we knew we had power here, and we ran into a problem there because there's a master switch on the control panel. They have all your black wires going into, and that's where your power comes from. You hit the switch, it sends power to the rest of the switches, but we weren't getting power to that. So I did do continuity to all of them from there, and we're good. So all of our wiring is good, so we know that's good. But here's where our problem comes in, is this is your window safety regulator switch thing. We don't know. It's a relay of some sort. But here's the problem. This is where we get our 12 volt power coming in. And because the relay's not working, it's not coming back out on this side, this black wire, which is what goes to the main switch on the control panel for all the windows. So that right there was why we weren't getting our power in there. So we just jumped that, so we had power going in there. Bam, we were able to test everything, and it worked out good. So I got to replace that. So then we come back in, okay, and we tested courtesy lights back here. They're good. I tested multiple other things, but just lighting mostly and different things. And all of the center console stuff, we made sure that we had 12 volts all through there, and we did. So that's all good. But the last thing I tested was the reverse lights. And the reverse lights weren't coming on when I would put it in reverse. So had to go up underneath there, look at the neutral safety switch, because that's where all this happens. And that neutral safety switch is really ratchety, and it was functioning, and I figured it was good, and I made the mistake. I should have found a way to actually test that switch out to make sure it was operating properly. It does work. If I move it, I can get it to the right spot, and it turns on the reverse lights in the back. So we know that all works. But I don't like the way that neutral safety switch is working. It feels like internally it's not in the best shape. So we're going to replace that. So I think that's where we're at. I have tested everything that I can test on this car electrically to this point. The trunk lid light works. We checked that. So basically, all of the electrical is good to this point. I've gone through the whole thing. And I'm happy with what I've seen so far, except for I've just got some components over here to replace. And I figured I was looking at all this stuff when I put it together, and I was like, this is probably going to need to be replaced. This is probably going to need to be replaced. That's probably going to need to be replaced. But it was easier for me to put it all in like it is, so I know where it all went. And then as I test it, I could say, okay, that's bad, I'll replace it. Oh, that's bad, I'll replace it. And it's easy. I know where it goes. I know what it is. And it certainly has made it easier for the troubleshooting versus, me playing around and have wires hanging over. I got all this stuff not, put up. So anyway, everything so far is tested out good. So we're going to wrap this video up here. And so it'll probably be another month to a month and a half, and then I'll put out another update video on where I'm at with the car, so you guys can kind of keep up every so often. I just want to wait till I have enough stuff. I'm at a weird phase of this build where it's hard for me to get enough stuff to put together for a good video for you guys in a week, because it's just there's so many little things that are happening right now all over the place. So that's where we're at right now. So expect the next update video on this in a month and a half, 2 months. Just depends on how long it takes to get it, enough stuff. All right. Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate everything. You guys have been great. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Until then, don't forget, get your projects done. All right. Bye.